Gamers, what is up? Vernon here, and if you're not familiar, this is Gaming Bytes, where we talk about the biggest gaming stories of the week, starting with the fact that you came back in 2014 to watch Gaming Bytes. Now let's get started. And folks, I did have some stuff prepared. I had some material that I'd written out and recorded, and I was just watching it and editing it, and I just wasn't feeling it. Unfortunately, I found an article that made me want to change my whole tune. This article comes from neoseeker.com, where they're talking about how Satoru Iwata from Nintendo is basically reporting losses. And that's a bad thing, unfortunately, because Nintendo is losing money. And they mentioned the Wii U and the fact that they're going into mobile gaming. Let me read you the quote. "We are thinking about a new business structure. Given the expansion of smart devices, we are naturally studying how smart devices can be used to grow the game player business. We cannot continue a business without winning. We must take a skeptical approach whether we can still simply make game players, offer them in the same way as in the past for 20,000 yen or 30,000 yen, and sell titles for a couple of thousand yen each. It's not as simple as enabling Mario to move on a smartphone." Now, the thing that I had prepared for this week's episode of Gaming Bytes was about the Nintendo Wii U, more so trying to fix it rather than to completely hate on it, offer suggestions, because I know Nintendo watches my stuff. And I will start by saying that it sucks that, a company is losing money. They make their living by entertaining people through video games, and, they've been making a good living at it for the last few decades. Their console, the Nintendo Wii U, has given me many headaches over the years. So let's talk about the comments for a minute. They're thinking about a new business structure. They're talking about smart devices and how it's expanded into gaming, and how they're studying how they can possibly grow their business by getting into mobile gaming. That would be fine. Except they're not talking about how they're going to improve the gaming experience on their console, the Nintendo Wii U. The console hasn't been selling well. People don't understand what it is. I can't even remember the marketing campaign, who it was marketed towards. All I can remember is that the main selling point was the tablet, the touchpad controller. Let me start by asking, who is the Nintendo Wii U marketed towards? Because you can say that it's a family-oriented console because it does have more family-oriented games, but then you have the hardcore gamer aspect, which involves Nintendo porting familiar games over from other consoles to the Wii U just to sell more Wii U consoles. And that would make sense if you were a Nintendo fan and you've always wanted to play Batman Arkham City or Battlefield 3 or Far Cry 3 or Assassin's Creed 3 or Mass Effect 3. However, those of us who have played these games on other consoles are looking for more things to invest in besides these games we've already played when we're looking to buy the Wii U. So yes, who is your target audience, Nintendo? Who are you trying to market this console to? Because the tablet's not doing it, the ported games aren't doing it. Let me give you another example. The Xbox One. It's supposed to be an all-in-one entertainment system. It's supposed to focus all of your entertainment needs, as well as video games, into one box. So you can funnel your cable TV into the Xbox One. You can play music, you can Skype on it, you can do this, you can do that, you could share your games with others. All of this stuff comes together to be an all-in-one gaming experience. The PlayStation 4 focuses on all things gaming, from remote play to multiplayer to streaming to indie games. They're focusing on making gaming a priority on the PlayStation 4. The Wii U? Who is it for? People who thought tablets would be good combined with a console? I respect the fact that they want to look into smart devices, into tablets, into smartphones. However, you have a gaming experience that's just wasted potential. It was $349.99 when it launched. That was the deluxe edition. Now that it has more bundles and stuff like that, and it's cheaper, it may look like it's worth a buy, but just because something is cheaper doesn't mean that it's better. You have to look at video game consoles as an investment, as a long-term investment. So when games come out, and come out, and come out, you will play games on that console that you bought. That is the long-term investment that people seem to forget they're making. Look at the Super Smash Bros. Game. I know that Nintendo isn't solely producing that game, but there are two versions to that game, one for the Wii U and one for the 3DS. Now when I heard this, I was genuinely excited because I thought that they were going to implement remote play so that when you play the game on the Wii U, maybe you save it or something like that, and then you pick it right back up on the 3DS. However, Nintendo ruined this by saying that we're creating two different versions that will not be remote play compatible, which I think is a huge mistake. To say that the reason that you can't do it is because you have different maps for the game is a dirty excuse. And you know how I know it's an excuse? Because Sony created a clone of Super Smash Bros. And they are doing the remote play concept between the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita. They're doing it, and they're doing it better. And this is what I thought they were going to do with Super Smash Bros., but they're not doing that. Instead, they're hawking this tablet controller that's probably going to play some big part in playing this game without really giving any thought to connecting them in any way besides some kind of upgrade system. And the freaking tablet controller, it looks fun at first. When you're looking at it and everything like that, it looks like it's innovative and stuff like that. The more you play it, the more you realize that it makes gaming more difficult. Who wants to sit there on their couch holding this big clunky thing in their hands, playing the game, looking at the screen, looking down at the tablet, back at the screen, down at the tablet to do a few things, and then looking back up at the screen and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That's how people get ADHD. I don't need something that's going to make gaming more difficult. And the other thing that bothers me about the touchpad is that apparently the Wii U supports two, but the US doesn't sell them separately. Japan is the only place that sells the tablet controller separately. So you mean to tell me that people that live in the US can have only one tablet and three controllers when they're playing Super Mario 3D World, and the console supports two? And why does the console only support two touchpads? Did they possibly rush it out the door to compete with Microsoft and Sony? I'd bet money that somebody at Nintendo spoke up and said, why not just have it support 4 tablet controllers? We can make more money that way. See, these are the types of things that I'm talking about. No focus, no crossplay, so it's less interesting than what it was, and you can't even have more than one tablet controller, especially if you're not in Japan. The point that I'm trying to make is that all of these things could have been worked on before release. That way, we'd have more fun with it. Now that they're projecting these losses, now's the time to go back to the drawing board and figure out what you can add, what you can tweak, what you can change to make the Wii U more marketable. Right now, against the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One, the Wii U's not even a contender. The Wii U is failing, and I don't want to see that happen. From the Nintendo Entertainment System to the Super NES, which I own right now. Super Mario World is waiting for me to play it right now. Love that game. To the Game Boy Advance, the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, the Nintendo Wii. I've had some great times gaming with Nintendo products. Not to say that I haven't with other companies like Sega or Sony or Microsoft, but Nintendo is where I started. You guys know me well enough to know that although I dislike the Wii U, I don't want to see people fail. I don't want to see people lose their jobs. I want to see creativity reign true. But competition and lack of ideas ruin it. How many times have we seen the Italian plumber, the mute swordsman, and the well-dressed gorilla over the last few decades? Come on, Nintendo, come up with some new IPs. Put the Marios and the Links and the Donkey Kongs to rest for a little while. It's okay to let go. The point is, while you're working on mobile gaming, you can also work on ways to make the Wii U better. The current next-gen experience that you're hawking could be a contender with the other 4 consoles on the market. It couldn't beat last-gen's consoles, the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. And now they expect us to believe that it's just the greatest next-gen experience that rivals the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and that's just not true, given that they're projecting losses because the Wii U is not selling the way that they thought it would. I realize that I've said a lot in the past few minutes, but what I think we can all take away from this is that no one is infallible. even though you've had such success over the last few decades, doesn't mean that will last forever. And I think the problem is that Nintendo continues to cater to the fans that they had when the Super NES was a hot commodity. That's not the case anymore. Sure, you can keep the same fans that you've had over the last few decades, but it's time to reinvent. It's time to come up with new things. Hire some new people. There are plenty of people looking for jobs out there that have great ideas. Start working with third-party developers. It seems like a lot of the big publishers like EA and Ubisoft have pretty much shut Nintendo out in terms of producing games for the Wii U. They need to get third-party developers in there. I think that's going to be the future, working together to create better gaming experiences. And that's all I have, gamers. I feel like the Nintendo Wii U could be so much better than what it is, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to see Nintendo fail. So if you guys have any ideas, please leave them in the comment section below. If you disagree, I don't really care, because these are my opinions. You have your opinions, you use your money the best way you want to. I'm not faulting anybody for buying the Nintendo Wii U or wanting to buy the Nintendo Wii U, but you have to see it for what it is. Otherwise, my name is Vernon to It. I hope you enjoyed getting to it. Much love to you all, and I will see you next time on HoldTheLine.com.